Commander Jake Morrison stared through the thick glass window at the massive machine humming in the center of Luna Station's main laboratory. The device looked like a giant metal ring surrounded by countless wires and glowing panels. Dr. Lisa Parker moved around it with careful steps, checking each connection one more time. "Are you sure this will work?" Jake asked, his voice showing the worry he felt inside. Lisa looked up from her work and smiled. "As sure as anyone can be when they're trying to do something that's never been done before." Jake nodded but kept watching. For the past 5 years, Earth's best scientists had been working on this project in secret. The Galactic Council thought humans were too primitive to understand real science. Most alien species treated Earth like a mining colony, only good for digging up basic materials. The crystalline Zephyrians controlled 3 star systems and looked down on humans like they were children playing with toys. The Vorthan Empire, made of pure energy beings, considered physical matter inferior and barely spoke to human diplomats. Even the smaller species in the council acted like Earth was lucky to have any rights at all. But Lisa and her team had found something the other species missed. While they focused on normal matter and energy, humans discovered how to work with dark matter. It made up most of the universe, but every other species ignored it because they couldn't detect it properly. "The neural interface is responding," said Dr. Alex Turner from his control station. "Brainwave patterns are stable." Lisa nodded and placed her hands on 2 metal plates connected to the machine. She had volunteered to be the first human to link directly with dark matter fields. The other scientists thought it was too dangerous, but Lisa knew someone had to take the risk. "Beginning the connection sequence," she announced. The machine's humming grew louder. The lights in the room flickered as massive amounts of energy flowed through the device. Jake watched Lisa's face as her eyes closed in concentration. Her breathing became slow and steady. "I can feel it," she whispered. "It's like touching the hidden part of everything." On the monitors around the room, numbers and graphs started showing impossible readings. The machine was actually grabbing hold of dark matter and bending it to human will. No other species in the galaxy had ever managed to do this. Captain Ryan Bell walked into the lab, his military uniform crisp and clean. He had been waiting for this moment as much as anyone. If the experiment worked, it would change everything about Earth's place in the galaxy. "How are we looking?" Ryan asked quietly. "Better than we hoped," Jake replied. "The connection is holding steady." Lisa opened her eyes, but they now glowed with a soft blue light. "I can see the dark matter dimension," she said in wonder. "It's like a whole other layer of reality running parallel to ours." The machine beeped loudly and all the screens showed green lights. The first successful dark matter manipulation in galactic history was complete. 3 weeks later, Jake stood on the bridge of the UES Dark Star, humanity's first dark matter-powered battleship. The ship looked normal from the outside, but inside it was filled with technology that shouldn't exist. Dark matter conduits ran through the walls like veins, powered by neural interfaces that let human crews control forces beyond imagination. "All systems ready." "Commander," reported Lieutenant Nina Collins from her station. Jake looked at the main screen showing empty space ahead of them. They were about to test the ship's most important ability. "Engage dark matter phase," he ordered. The ship seemed to shimmer and become slightly transparent. They were still in normal space, but also existing partially in the dark matter dimension. Sensors couldn't detect them anymore. Weapons couldn't lock onto them. They had become ghosts. "Phase successful," Nina announced. "We're invisible to all conventional scanning," Jake smiled. After years of being treated like primitives, humans had built something that made them untouchable. The test was interrupted when long-range sensors detected 3 ships approaching. Jake recognized the crystalline design immediately. Zephyrian patrol vessels probably checking on human mining operations in the asteroid belt. "Should we avoid them?" Nina asked. Jake thought for a moment. The smart thing would be to stay hidden and finish their tests. But he was tired of hiding from species that thought humans were inferior. "Take us closer," he decided. "Let's see how their sensors handle our new technology." The Dark Star moved toward the Zephyrian ships while staying in its phased state. The alien vessels continued on their patrol route, completely unaware that a human battleship was moving right beside them. "Their sensors are scanning the area," Nina reported. "But they're not detecting anything." One of the Zephyrian ships suddenly stopped and began broadcasting on open channels. The universal translator picked up their confused communications. "Sensor anomaly detected. Unable to identify source. All scanners show empty space." Gravitational readings suggest mass presence, but visual and energy scans negative. Jake watched the alien ships move in confused circles, trying to find something their instruments told them was there but couldn't see. For thousands of years, Zephyrian technology had been among the most advanced in the galaxy. Now their sensors were useless against human innovation. "Commander," Nina said with excitement in her voice, "I'm reading massive energy buildup from the lead Zephyrian ship. They're charging weapons. They're firing blind," Jake realized. "They know something's here but can't target us." Bright beams of crystalline energy shot out from the alien ships, lighting up space in all directions. But every shot missed the Dark Star completely. The human ship existed in a state the Zephyrians couldn't comprehend. After several minutes of useless firing, the alien patrol gave up and continued on their route. Jake could imagine the reports they would file about mysterious sensor readings and equipment malfunctions. "Take us home," Jake ordered. "Phase us back to normal space once we're clear." As the Dark Star returned to Earth, Jake thought about what they had accomplished. Humans had built a ship that could hide from any scanner and move through space in ways that defied known physics. But more importantly, they had proven that the species everyone underestimated was capable of innovations beyond alien imagination. Lisa's research had opened a door to the hidden majority of the universe. Dark matter wasn't just exotic material to study. It was a tool that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. The message was clear to anyone smart enough to understand it. Humanity was no longer content to be treated as a primitive species. They had found strength in the darkness that other species couldn't even see. When the Dark Star docked at Luna Station, Jake knew their secret wouldn't stay hidden much longer. Soon, the Galactic Council would learn that the humans they dismissed had become something entirely new, something that could touch the invisible foundation of reality itself. The age of human submission was ending. The age of human ascension had begun. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood in the command center of Earth's primary space station, watching the most terrifying sight she had ever seen. 12 massive ships hung in space near Mars, each one the size of a small city. The Vorthan Empire had come to teach humanity a lesson. "Energy readings are off the charts," reported Chief Communications Officer Ben Torres. "Each of those dreadnoughts has enough firepower to crack a moon." Kate nodded grimly. The Vorthans were energy beings who lived inside mechanical bodies built from exotic metals. They considered physical matter inferior, and often destroyed primitive species just to prove their superiority. 3 human colonies on Mars housed over 2 million people, and they were all in danger. "Incoming transmission from the Vorthan fleet," Ben announced. The main screen flickered and showed a figure made of pure blue energy inside a crystalline shell. Its voice buzzed with electronic static when it spoke. "Primitive humans, your species has violated Council space regulations by developing unauthorized technology. Submit immediately or watch your colonies burn." Kate stepped forward, her jaw set with determination. "This is Admiral Sullivan of Earth Defense Command. We have violated no laws. Leave our system immediately." The Vorthan energy being pulsed brighter with what might have been laughter. "Your crude matter-based weapons cannot harm us. You have 1 hour to surrender, or we will demonstrate the price of defying superior beings." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in tense silence. Kate knew their regular defense fleet couldn't stop even 1 Vorthan dreadnought, let alone 12. But Earth had a secret weapon that the energy beings couldn't imagine. "Get me Commander Morrison," she ordered. The screen changed to show Jake Morrison on the bridge of the UES Dark Star. Behind him, the bridge crew worked at stations filled with dark matter interfaces that glowed with soft blue light. "We're ready, Admiral," Jake said simply. "The Dark Star is fully operational." "Jake, you're facing 12 dreadnoughts with technology thousands of years more advanced than anything we've built before." Jake smiled confidently. "They've never faced anything like us either. Dark matter doesn't play by their rules." Kate took a deep breath. She was about to order 1 human ship to attack a fleet that could destroy entire star systems. But the Dark Star wasn't just any ship. It was humanity's first step into a larger universe. "You are authorized to engage," she said. "Good hunting." Near Mars, the Vorthan dreadnoughts began charging their main weapons. Energy collectors the size of football fields started glowing as they gathered power from the solar wind and cosmic radiation. In 30 minutes, they would have enough energy to sterilize the Martian colonies. Suddenly, space itself seemed to ripple between the alien ships. The Dark Star materialized from its dark matter phase state, appearing directly in the center of the Vorthan formation. "Impossible," transmitted the Vorthan fleet commander. "Our sensors detected no approach vector." Jake Morrison stood on his bridge watching the massive enemy ships surrounding his vessel. Each dreadnought was 50 times larger than the Dark Star, but size meant nothing when you could manipulate the hidden structure of reality. "Target the lead ship," Jake ordered. "Fire dark matter disruption beam." The Dark Star's main weapon didn't shoot energy or projectiles. Instead, it fired a beam of controlled dark matter that could alter the quantum structure of normal matter. The beam struck the Vorthan flagship and passed right through its energy shields as if they didn't exist. Where the beam touched the enemy ship's hull, metal and circuits simply stopped existing in normal space. A section the size of a city block vanished, leaving a perfectly smooth hole that exposed the ship's interior to vacuum. The Vorthan commander's transmission crackled with shock. Shields had no effect. "How is this possible?" Jake didn't answer. The Dark Star was already moving, phasing in and out of normal space as it attacked the next target. The human ship accelerated without any visible engine thrust, changed direction without inertia, and fired weapons that ignored every known law of physics. Dr. Lisa Parker worked at her neural interface station, her eyes glowing blue as she maintained the connection to dark matter fields. "I'm detecting the Vorthan energy signatures," she reported. "They exist partially outside normal matter. I think I can disrupt their life force directly." "Do it," Jake ordered. Lisa concentrated, sending dark matter pulses toward the nearest dreadnought. The beam passed through the ship's hull and struck the Vorthan energy being inside its mechanical body. The alien commander screamed as dark matter interference disrupted its energy patterns. For the first time in the Vorthan Empire's history, one of their energy beings had been harmed by physical matter technology. The psychological impact was devastating. "All ships target the human vessel," the fleet commander ordered. "Maximum firepower." 12 dreadnoughts opened fire simultaneously. Energy beams capable of melting asteroids converged on the Dark Star's position. But the human ship phased into the dark matter dimension just as the weapons struck, letting the deadly energy pass harmlessly through empty space. The Dark Star reappeared behind the Vorthan formation and fired again. This time the dark matter beam struck a dreadnought's main reactor. The alien ship's power systems simply stopped working as their matter was displaced into the dark matter dimension. "Impossible technology," the Vorthan commander transmitted. "Request immediate reinforcements from the home fleet." But reinforcements wouldn't help. The Dark Star continued its attack, moving through the enemy formation like a ghost. Jake's crew had trained for months to fight in ways that defied conventional space combat. They struck from impossible angles, disappeared when attacked, and used weapons that bypassed every defense. Captain Ryan Bell monitored the battle from Luna Station, amazed by what he was seeing. "They're not just winning," he told Admiral Sullivan. "They're making the Vorthans look helpless." In 30 minutes, the Dark Star had disabled 8 of the 12 dreadnoughts without taking a single hit. The remaining Vorthan ships tried to retreat, but dark matter manipulation allowed the human vessel to appear anywhere in space instantly. "This is Commander Morrison to the Vorthan fleet," Jake transmitted. "Your weapons cannot touch us. Your shields cannot stop us. Leave our system now or we will destroy every ship you have." The Vorthan fleet commander's energy form flickered with fear. For thousands of years, his species had been among the most powerful in the galaxy. Now they faced a primitive species that could strike them down with technology they couldn't understand. "We withdraw," the commander transmitted, "but the Council will hear of this." The 4 remaining Vorthan dreadnoughts limped away from Mars, their proud formation broken and demoralized. Behind them, the Dark Star hung in space like a dark angel, proving that humanity was no longer the helpless species everyone thought they knew. Jake Morrison looked at his crew and saw the same amazement in their eyes that he felt. They had just defeated one of the galaxy's most powerful fleets using technology that existed in the spaces between atoms. "Admiral Sullivan," Jake transmitted to Earth. "Mars colonies are secure. Enemy fleet has withdrawn." Kate's voice came back filled with relief and wonder. "Outstanding work, Commander." "How did we do it?" Jake looked at Dr. Parker, whose neural interface still glowed with dark matter energy. "We learned to fight in the dark while they were still staring at the light." News of the battle spread across the galactic communication network within hours. For the first time in galactic history, The Vorthon Empire had been defeated by a species they considered primitive. The impossible had happened, and every civilization in the galaxy wanted to know how. The message was clear to anyone listening. Humanity had found power in the hidden majority of the universe, and they were no longer afraid to use it. Ambassador Claire Wright walked through the crystal corridors of Nexus Prime, the neutral world where the Galactic Council made all their important decisions. The massive building stretched for miles in every direction, its walls made from living crystal that pulsed with soft rainbow light. She had never seen so many different alien species gathered in one place. Tall, thin creatures with skin like tree bark whispered to each other in musical tones. Floating jellyfish beings drifted through the air, their translucent bodies glowing with internal light. The crystalline Zephyrians stood in perfect geometric formations, their faceted bodies reflecting the chamber's illumination. But the most impressive sight was Elder Vex of the Titan Collective. The ancient being was over 30 feet tall with skin like polished stone and eyes that glowed like small stars. His species had guided galactic civilization for 10,000 years, and he radiated wisdom and power that made other aliens step aside respectfully. Claire felt very small and very human among all these ancient, advanced beings. But she also knew that humanity now possessed something that made even Elder Vex nervous. "The emergency session will begin," announced a mechanical voice that echoed through the chamber. Representatives from 47 species took their positions around a massive circular platform. Claire stood in the area marked for humanity, noting that it was one of the smallest spaces in the room. Until recently, Earth had been considered barely worthy of council membership. Elder Vex stepped forward, his voice rumbling like distant thunder. "We gathered to address an unprecedented situation. The species known as humanity has developed technology that violates the fundamental principles of galactic stability." Murmurs spread through the assembled aliens. Claire had expected this accusation, but hearing it spoken aloud still made her angry. "The technology in question," Elder Vex continued, "manipulates dark matter in ways that previous testing determined to be impossible. This represents a clear violation of the Cosmic Stability Accords." A Zephyrian representative stepped forward, its crystalline body chiming like bells when it moved. "Our patrol ships encountered this technology firsthand. Human vessels can become completely undetectable while maintaining full combat capability. This makes existing defense systems obsolete." Claire raised her hand to speak. "With respect, Elder Vex, humanity has violated no existing laws. Dark matter manipulation was never specifically forbidden because every other species claimed it was impossible." The chamber erupted in angry clicking, buzzing, and musical protests from dozens of different species. Claire waited for the noise to die down before continuing. "For years, this council has treated Earth as a primitive backwater, only good for mining raw materials. Now that we've achieved something you claim we're dangerous." A Vorthon energy being pulsed brighter with indignation. "Dangerous is correct. Human vessels destroyed our fleet without taking damage. This technology could destabilize the entire galactic order." Elder Vex raised one massive hand and the chamber fell silent. "Ambassador Wright, the Council recognizes humanity's achievement. But power without wisdom leads to chaos. Your species has been members of galactic civilization for less than 50 years. You lack the experience to wield such devastating capability responsibly." Claire felt her temper rising but forced herself to stay calm. "And who decides what's responsible? The same council that assigned Earth mining rights in our own solar system? The same beings who've kept humanity as second-class citizens for decades? Meanwhile on Earth, Dr. Lisa Parker worked frantically in her expanded laboratory. The Council's ultimatum had given humanity 7 days to surrender their dark matter technology or face the combined might of the entire galaxy. Lisa knew they needed more than one battleship to survive what was coming. "Neural interface calibration complete," announced Dr. Alex Turner from his workstation. "We're ready to begin construction of the second ship." Lisa nodded, her eyes still glowing with the blue light of dark matter connection. "Begin assembly of the UES Shadowfall. We need to accelerate the timeline." Around her, dozens of human technicians worked on technology that shouldn't exist. They were building 3 more dark matter battleships in less than a week, something that would have taken years using conventional construction methods. The secret was the neural interfaces. By linking human consciousness directly to dark matter fields, they could manipulate matter at the quantum level. Construction became a matter of imagination made real rather than slow mechanical assembly. Captain Ryan Bell entered the laboratory, his face grim with worry. "Lisa, the long-range sensors are detecting massive fleet movements throughout the galaxy. Every major species is mobilizing their battle fleets." Lisa looked up from her work, fatigue clear in her expression. "How many ships are we looking at?" "Conservative estimate? 3,000 vessels. Maybe more." Ryan's voice was steady, but Claire could hear the concern underneath. "It's the largest armada in galactic history." Lisa turned back to her neural interface, determination replacing her exhaustion. "Then we better make sure our ships can handle the job." Back on Nexus Prime, the council session had grown increasingly heated. Species that had been allies for centuries were arguing about how to handle the human threat. Complete technological embargo demanded a representative of the insectoid hive minds. Isolate Earth until they agree to surrender the technology. Military action is the only solution. Buzzed a delegate from the machine, intelligence known as the computational matrix. Destroy the ships before they can be replicated. But not every species supported aggressive action. A representative of the philosophical Mentari floated forward, its ethereal form shimmering with concern. "Has this council become so fearful that we would destroy a species for achieving what we could not?" the Mentari asked in its musical voice. "Perhaps humanity's success should inspire us to reconsider our own limitations." Elder Vex listened to the debates with growing frustration. For 10,000 years, the Galactic Council had maintained peace through careful balance of power. No single species had ever developed technology that made all others obsolete, until now. "The Council has reached its decision," he announced, his voice cutting through all other sounds. "Humanity will surrender all dark matter manipulation technology within 7 standard rotations. All vessels equipped with this technology will be turned over to Council custody for study and destruction." Claire stepped forward boldly. "And if we refuse? Then you will face the combined military might of every member species," Elder Vex replied. 3,000 ships representing the accumulated wisdom and power of galactic civilization. Claire looked around the chamber at all the alien faces staring at her with mixtures of fear, anger, and curiosity. She thought about the Dark Star and the 3 new ships being built in secret. She thought about humanity's long history of being underestimated by more powerful enemies. "Elder Vex," she said clearly, "humanity appreciates the Council's concern, but we will not surrender technology that represents our survival. If you want our ships, you're welcome to try taking them." The chamber erupted in shocked noise. No species had ever directly defied a Council ultimatum backed by the threat of total war. Elder Vex's glowing eyes focused on Claire with something that might have been respect. "You understand what this means?" "It means humanity stops asking permission to exist," Claire replied. "We've spent 50 years proving we belong in this galaxy. Now we'll prove we can defend our place in it." As the council session dissolved into chaos, Claire walked calmly toward the exit. Behind her, representatives from 47 species debated whether to destroy Earth or try to understand what humanity had accomplished. She knew the decision was already made. The largest military force in galactic history was already moving toward the solar system. In a few days, humanity would face a test that would determine whether they joined the ranks of advanced civilization or were crushed for daring to rise above their assigned place. But Claire wasn't afraid. She had seen what dark matter manipulation could do. More importantly, she understood what it meant. Humanity had found strength in the hidden majority of the universe, and they were done hiding from species who couldn't see beyond their own limitations. The age of asking permission was over. The age of taking what humanity deserved had begun. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood before the massive display screen in Luna Command, staring at a sight that would have terrified any human leader in history. Thousands of alien warships stretched across the outer edges of the solar system, representing every advanced civilization in the galaxy. Final count is 3,000. 200 ships, reported Chief Intelligence Officer Marcus Webb. Titan Collective World ships, Zephyrian crystal matrices, Fourthan energy dreadnoughts, and battle fleets from 44 other species. Kate nodded grimly. Each world ship carried billions of alien beings and had enough firepower to destroy entire planets. The crystal matrices could channel stellar energy into weapons that melted asteroids. Even the smallest ships in the enemy fleet were centuries more advanced than Earth's best technology. "And our forces?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. "4 ships," Marcus replied. "The Dark Star, Shadowfall, Voidwalker, and Nightbringer. Total crew complement, 400 humans." The odds were beyond impossible. Humanity was about to face the combined might of galactic civilization, with 4 experimental vessels and crews who had been training for less than a year. "Admiral," came Commander Jake Morrison's voice over the communication system. "The dark matter fleet is ready to engage." Kate looked at the tactical display showing 4 small dots representing humanity's entire space navy. They looked pathetically insignificant compared to the massive alien armada approaching from multiple directions. "Jake, you're facing the largest military force in galactic history. Are you certain about this?" Jake's voice came back steady and confident. "Admiral, we're not fighting their ships. We're fighting their understanding of what's possible. Dark matter doesn't care how big their fleet is." At the orbit of Neptune, advance elements of the Council fleet established forward positions. Titan collective world ships, each the size of small moons, took strategic locations while their smaller escort vessels spread out in defensive formations. Elder Vex commanded the operation from his flagship, a massive construct that housed the accumulated wisdom of his species. He had seen 10,000 years of galactic history, but never a situation like this one. "Long-range sensors detect 4 human vessels approaching," reported his tactical officer. "They appear to be proceeding directly toward our forward positions. 4 ships against our entire fleet," mused another officer. "Either they plan to surrender or they have tactics we haven't considered." Elder Vex's ancient eyes glowed with concern. "Given what we know of human dark matter technology, assume the latter." The first engagement began when Zephyrian crystal ships attempted to scan the approaching human vessels. Their crystalline sensors, which could detect energy signatures across multiple dimensions, suddenly went completely blank. "Sensor contact lost," reported the Zephyrian commander. "All scanning frequencies disrupted." Captain Ryan Bell, commanding the UES Shadowfall, smiled as his ship phased partially into the dark matter dimension. "Looks like they still can't see us coming." The 4 human ships approached the enemy fleet in a loose formation, but their movement patterns defied every principle of space combat. They accelerated without visible engine thrust, changed direction without turning, and maintained perfect coordination despite using no detectable communication signals. "All human vessels have vanished from sensors," reported a Vorthan energy being, unable to maintain target locks. Elder Vex felt a chill of ancient fear. His species had ruled the galaxy for millennia because they understood how war worked. Fleets clashed in predictable patterns using known physics and established tactics, but the humans were fighting with rules that didn't exist in any tactical manual. The battle began in earnest when the UES Dark Star materialized inside a formation of Titan collective escort vessels. Jake Morrison's ship appeared directly between 3 massive alien cruisers, its dark matter field disrupting their targeting systems. "Fire dark matter disruption pulse," Jake ordered. The Dark Star's weapons didn't shoot energy or projectiles. Instead, they fired controlled dark matter fields that altered the fundamental structure of normal matter. The pulse struck all 3 alien ships simultaneously, causing sections of their hulls to simply phase out of normal space. "Impossible," transmitted one of the Titan commanders. "Our shields registered no impact, but we have hull breaches in multiple sections." Dr. Lisa Parker worked at her neural interface station, her consciousness linked directly to the dark matter field surrounding the ship. "I'm detecting the quantum structure of their hull materials," she reported, initiating selective matter displacement. The 3 alien cruisers suddenly found their weapons systems failing as key components were displaced into the dark matter dimension. Their guns were physically intact but existed in a quantum state that made firing impossible. Meanwhile, the UES Voidwalker engaged a formation of Zephyrian crystal matrices. These alien ships used geometric patterns to focus stellar energy into devastating beam weapons, but their tactics required precise positioning and clear lines of sight. Commander Sarah Wells phased her ship in and out of normal space, appearing randomly throughout the Zephyrian formation. Each time the Voidwalker materialized, it fired dark matter disruption beams that passed through the aliens' energy shields as if they were made of paper. "Shields have no effect against human weapons," reported a Zephyrian captain, requesting new tactical instructions. But there were no tactical instructions for fighting an enemy that could ignore shields, appear anywhere in space instantly, and fire weapons that operated on principles beyond current understanding. The turning point came when Dr. Parker made an unexpected discovery. While maintaining her neural link to dark matter fields, she detected something unusual about the Vorthan energy beings. "Commander Morrison," she called out excitedly. "The Vorthans exist partially in the dark matter dimension. I can communicate with them directly." Jake looked up from his tactical display. "What do you mean?" "Their energy-based consciousness has components that exist in dark matter space. I think I can establish a direct mental link." Lisa concentrated, sending controlled dark matter pulses toward the nearest Vorthan dreadnought. Instead of disrupting the alien ship's systems, she used the dark matter field to create a communication bridge between human and Vorthan consciousness. For the first time in galactic history, organic matter and pure energy achieved direct mental contact. The Vorthan commander suddenly experienced human thoughts, emotions, and memories flowing directly into its energy-based mind. The psychological impact was devastating. The Vorthan being realized that the creatures it had considered primitive matter possessed consciousness as complex and sophisticated as its own. More importantly, it understood that humans could touch its mind directly through dark matter manipulation. Unknown phenomenon detected. The Vorthan commander transmitted to the Council fleet. "Human technology allows direct consciousness interface. Recommend immediate tactical withdrawal." Elder Vex received reports from across the battlefield that filled him with growing dread. Human ships were phasing through solid matter, appearing inside alien formations and using weapons that bypassed every known defense. Worse, they were demonstrating capabilities that suggested mastery over fundamental forces of the universe. "Council fleet casualties approaching 30%, reported his tactical officer. "All human vessels remain undamaged." Elder Vex made a decision that went against 10,000 years of Titan collective pride. "Signal General Ceasefire. Request communication with human fleet commander." Jake Morrison's image appeared on screens throughout the Council fleet, transmitted through dark matter fields that made interception impossible. The human commander looked calm and confident, showing no sign of stress despite facing the largest military force in galactic history. "Elder Vex," Jake said respectfully. "This is Commander Morrison. You requested communication." The ancient Titan leader felt the weight of 10 millennia of galactic dominance shifting beneath his feet. "Commander, your species has demonstrated capabilities that require us to reconsider fundamental assumptions about physics and warfare. We've demonstrated that there's more to the universe than what you've been looking at," Jake replied. "Dark matter makes up 85% of reality. We learned to work with the majority instead of limiting ourselves to the 15% you call normal." Elder Vex processed this statement and its implications. If humans could manipulate the hidden majority of the universe, then every other species had been fighting with only a fraction of available power. "What are your terms?" he asked, the words difficult for a being accustomed to dictating to others. Jake looked at his crew, then back at the screen. "Recognition that humanity deserves a place in galactic civilization based on our achievements, not your permission. Equal status in council decisions. And an end to treating Earth like a mining colony." Elder Vex considered the human demands. They were reasonable given the demonstration of overwhelming technological superiority. More importantly, attempting to destroy a species that could manipulate dark matter might trigger consequences beyond imagination. "The Council accepts your terms," he announced, his words broadcast to every ship in both fleets. "Humanity will be accorded full status within galactic civilization." 6 months after the battle that changed galactic history, Ambassador Claire Wright walked through the crystal halls of Nexus Prime with a confidence she had never felt before. The same corridors that once made her feel small and insignificant now welcomed her as an equal among the galaxy's most powerful beings. The changes were visible everywhere. Human technical advisors worked alongside alien scientists in research stations that glowed with dark matter energy. Translation interfaces developed through dark matter consciousness bridging allowed species that had never communicated directly to share thoughts and ideas. Most dramatically, the council chamber itself had been restructured. Where humanity once occupied a tiny space reserved for junior members, Earth now held a position of honor near the center of the Great Circle. Other species no longer whispered about primitive humans. They listened carefully when human representatives spoke. "The session will begin," announced the mechanical voice that echoed through the chamber. Elder Vex took his traditional position at the center of the great platform, but even the ancient Titan leader seemed different now. The arrogance of 10,000 years of dominance had been replaced by something approaching humility. "Today we address proposals from the Institute for Dark Matter Sciences," he announced, gesturing toward Dr. Lisa Parker. Lisa stood confidently before the assembled representatives, her eyes still carrying the blue glow of dark matter connection. Behind her, holographic displays showed research that would have been considered impossible just months earlier. "The Institute has completed initial studies on dark matter applications beyond military technology," she began. "We've discovered methods for healing genetic damage, restoring dead ecosystems, and enabling direct consciousness communication between different forms of life." Murmurs of amazement spread through the chamber. The crystalline Zephyrians chimed with musical excitement. Even the coldly logical computational matrix representatives processed the information with what might have been enthusiasm. "Furthermore," Lisa continued, "we've confirmed that dark matter manipulation can allow travel to regions of space that exist primarily in the dark matter dimension. Our exploration vessels have discovered evidence of civilizations that transcended normal matter millions of years ago." This announcement caused a sensation. The idea that advanced civilizations might exist in the hidden majority of the universe challenged everything the galaxy thought it knew about cosmic history. Admiral Jake Morrison, recently promoted from his position as ship commander, stood in the newly constructed Earth Deep Space Command Center. Around him, technicians monitored the construction of humanity's first dark matter exploration fleet. "Status report on the Infinity Project," he requested. Chief Engineer Alex Turner looked up from his neural interface station. "Construction proceeding ahead of schedule. The new ships incorporate improvements suggested by our Mentari allies." Jake nodded with satisfaction. The philosophical Mentari had become humanity's strongest supporters, fascinated by the potential for consciousness expansion through dark matter interaction. Their ethereal nature made them natural partners for beings who could touch the hidden structure of reality. "Long-range sensors are detecting anomalous readings from outside the galaxy," reported Lieutenant Nina Collins. "The signals match theoretical predictions for advanced dark matter technology." Jake felt a chill of concern. "More advanced than ours?" "Significantly more advanced," Nina confirmed. "If these readings are accurate, something is approaching from intergalactic space using technology that makes our dark matter manipulation look primitive." On Nexus Prime, the council session was interrupted by urgent communications from deep space monitoring stations. Elder Vex listened to the reports with growing alarm. "Confirm these readings," he ordered. A Zephyrian technical specialist processed the data through crystalline computational matrices. "Confirmed. Massive energy signatures approaching from the direction of the Andromeda Galaxy. Estimated arrival time, 6 standard months." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Just as the galaxy was adjusting to humanity's revolutionary technology, something even more advanced was coming from outside their local cosmic neighborhood. "What are we looking at?" asked a representative from the HiveMind Collective. Dr. Parker stepped forward, her neural interfaces working frantically to analyze the incoming data. "Based on the energy patterns, these are ships using dark matter manipulation techniques centuries beyond our current level. Whoever built them has been working with this technology for thousands of years." Elder Vex turned to Claire Wright. "Ambassador, your species has the most advanced understanding of dark matter manipulation in our galaxy. What do you recommend?" Claire felt the weight of galactic leadership settling on human shoulders. "We recommend immediate cooperation between all council species to develop joint defense capabilities. This threat is beyond what any single civilization can handle alone." Captain Ryan Bell stood on the bridge of the UES Infinity, humanity's most advanced dark matter vessel yet constructed. The ship incorporated design elements from a dozen different species, representing the first true collaborative effort in galactic history. "All systems operational," reported Commander Sarah Wells from her station. "Dark matter phase generators are responding perfectly." Ryan looked at the mixed crew around him. Human neural interface specialists worked alongside Mentari consciousness theorists, Zephyrian computational experts, and even reformed Vorthan energy beings who had volunteered to help defend their galaxy. "Begin preliminary scout mission," he ordered. "Let's see what we're really facing." The Infinity phased into the dark matter dimension and accelerated beyond anything previously thought possible. By combining human innovation with alien wisdom, they had created vessels that could traverse galactic distances in days rather than years. As the ship moved through dark matter space, its sensors detected something that changed everything they thought they understood about the universe. The incoming fleet wasn't just using advanced dark matter technology. The ships themselves were constructed primarily from dark matter, existing as stable structures in the hidden dimension. "Ryan," called Dr. Parker from her interface station, "I'm reading consciousness patterns unlike anything we've encountered. These beings don't just use dark matter technology, they are dark matter entities." The revelation transformed the situation from a potential invasion to a first contact scenario with beings who existed primarily in the hidden majority of the universe. These entities had probably been watching galactic civilization for millions of years, waiting for someone to develop sufficient dark matter mastery to communicate with them. "Incoming transmission," Nina announced. "It's coming through dark matter fields directly to our neural interfaces." The message that flowed into human consciousness was unlike anything ever experienced. It carried information, emotion, and concepts that existed beyond normal language. The entities identified themselves as the architects, beings who had transcended physical matter eons ago and now guided the development of consciousness throughout the universe. They brought news that the galaxy was approaching a cosmic transition point where all civilizations would need to choose between remaining limited to normal matter or evolving to work with the full spectrum of reality. Humanity's breakthrough with dark matter manipulation had triggered this transition phase. Back on Nexus Prime, the council chamber filled with representatives from every known species as humanity shared the architect's message. The implications were staggering. Their galaxy was about to join a cosmic community that existed primarily in dark matter space. Elder Vex processed the information with wonder and concern. "Your species has opened a door that cannot be closed," he told Claire. "Everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe was incomplete." Claire nodded solemnly. "The architects are offering to teach us, but only if we can work together. No single species can make this transition alone." Over the following weeks, the greatest collaborative effort in galactic history began. Human dark matter specialists shared their techniques with alien scientists. Mentari philosophers worked with Titan logicians to understand the consciousness implications. Even the warlike Vorthan Empire contributed their energy manipulation expertise. Jake Morrison found himself commanding not just human vessels, but joint expeditionary forces that represented the best of dozens of civilizations. The old hierarchies based on technological superiority had dissolved, replaced by cooperation focused on preparing for cosmic advancement. "The Architect's advance fleet has arrived at the galaxy's edge," Nina reported during one of their joint planning sessions. "They're requesting permission to establish formal contact." Jake looked around the command center at beings who had been enemies just months earlier, now working together toward common goals. The Zephyrian crystals harmonized with Mentari consciousness fields. Vorthan energy patterns interfaced with human neural networks. Even the collective hive minds had contributed their organizational abilities. "Grant permission," he decided. "It's time to meet our teachers." As the first architect vessels phased into normal space near Nexus Prime, they brought knowledge that would transform galactic civilization forever. But the most important transformation had already begun with